Welcome to another episode of JD's Let's Talk. On this episode, we're going to talk about reboots, remakes, and sequels. Some keynotes here are sometimes they work. So sometimes they're good. Sometimes they need to be made. This is a new era. They were good movies back then. They just, if you put a spin on it with today's technology and today's upkeep and today's social media, and you add all this stuff in, then they can be adapted. Sometimes they cannot, and they're just horrible. But you're not going to know until you make it. I don't think it hinders the business at all. We have a bunch of people saying that it destroys the original. I understand that sometimes it can hinder the franchise, but there's a fix to that. But destroying the original is what gets me. We have this thing that says that if it's awful, then for some reason, camera down. That it's awful, then the original suffers. But I can watch the original; it's still okay. Like, it still fits up. I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But like the Ghostbusters remake with the all-female cast, just to give one. I can still watch the original two Ghostbusters movies. They're still good. A way to fix the franchise mistake is what franchises are doing now. It worked and it failed. With Halloween, it worked. Everything after Halloween 2 was almost utter garbage. I find it fun because I am a simple dude and I enjoy simple stuff. We have Michael Myers. But I get it. If you take a look at the way they did The Mask, sometimes it's just horrible. The plot that it's all a conspiracy, that was horrible. Him end up having sex with his niece. I mean, you get what I'm trying to say. But they fixed it by going, okay, let's do a new timeline. I think I blame Marvel for this because of the timeline theory. Back to the Future timeline theory. And now movies can do that and go, okay, this is the original timeline. This is where the franchise fell off, Let's insert here at this spot where it's good, and let's branch it off to another timeline. Halloween did it. This was the sequel to the original. Much better than the sequel. I did enjoy the sequel, but this one was better. And this one's getting a sequel, but now we're on a different timeline. Halloween has different timelines anyways, because the third said that Laurie Strode died, or not the third was The Mask, but the fourth said Laurie Strode died. That went to a different timeline. And then Halloween H2O, she didn't die, and she had a son. So I think there are like 3-4 branches of the timeline for H2O now. And the sequel is Halloween Kills. Awesome. And it's gonna have Tommy from the original Halloween, the little boy, and the girl come back. Sometimes they don't work. Terminator Dark Fate. I've not watched it, but I knew watching the trailers and everything that it was going to be a garbage movie. If you promote and do it on purpose and try to get an agenda, doesn't matter what agenda it is, if you try to put a personal agenda, a political agenda into your movie, it's not going to be liked. And I'm talking about all sides. We, as moviegoers, don't want to see that shit. You killed off, spoiler, but I got it spoiled too. You killed off the favorite character of the damn franchise within the first minutes of your fucking movie. What is wrong with you? Like, there are ways to do that. And I have an idea for that. We could have went with this, but saying that the Terminators before Skynet was taken down were sent back in time already. Come on, man. Like, you blew it. What you should have done is taken the movie. If you wanted to, you should have killed them both. in the beginning of your movie, set up a new timeline where and not even a Terminator come back and kill them. We can have a regular person come back and kill them because they are hitman for a company who has the intel of Skynet, but not Skynet themselves. The TV show did that. A different company take over Skynet. It wasn't called Skynet no more because Skynet didn't exist. However, it was. So you could have had a different, or you couldn't even have Terminator, a different company who took over Skynet, send one back and kill them both. This way you change it altogether, but have it backfire on Skynet and have it just lead to a better leader, a better revolutionary person. You could have done that, and that would have been good. You could have also not aged the Terminator. You could have had Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is what I thought they were doing, which sounded intriguing. Have him be the original guy they designed the Terminator from. Just have them meet up with him. Have him be a military guy, but have him be a human, not a Terminator. And stop taking the Terminator like so far-fetched, OP, and then having him taken down in a stupid way. Just stick to normal robots disguised as humans. That's what we love. The T-1000 was great, liquid, but you should stop at that point. I'm trying to get too much. Some work. Some reboots some franchises don't need to be rebooted, but if they do, when they're done right, they're good. I have a list of some that have done good and some that have not. So I'll go in detail about that. A list of 8. Actually, I'll do that now. So let's go with the ones that suck, because these were easy. I could have made a longer list than 8. The Star Wars prequels. It's not George Lucas's fault. The acting was horrible. If they had more compassion, less about politics. Again, we don't care about politics in our movie unless it's some kind of spy thriller, like Harrison Ford playing the president. A Jurassic Park 3, that was worse than in my opinion, the first 2. Everything after Home Alone 2 should have just left the franchise, just left it alone. You could have made a different movie, but that premise could be made with any child being left home alone, but it just cannot compare. Almost every, and I'm not saying they're crap. Some of them are good, but they're nowhere near the original. All of Disney's live action movies, not ones that are original, not Pirates of the Caribbean. That's fantastic. I'm talking about the ones that were taken from a cartoon and made live action. Sleeping Beauty, The Lion King, Aladdin, The Jungle Book. I did enjoy The Jungle Book live action. I did enjoy Aladdin, but I'm saying stuff that are not as good as the original, because I have a list. You can be like, well, nothing's good as the original. I have a list of 8 that say otherwise. Footloose 2011. God damn. I understand trying to make Footloose again and put it in this era. That makes sense, but it was poorly executed. The Mummy, I thought this was going to reboot the franchise, make a whole dark world thing with the monster movies. That sounds like a fantastic job, but compared to Brendan Fraser's, it just didn't stack up. I did enjoy it. I did like it. Not saying it was crap. The reboot of Psycho, nowhere near the original, not even close. And RoboCop. I did enjoy RoboCop. I thought it was slick. Most people don't like the suit, but again, it does not compare to the original RoboCop. And that's what we're doing. We are trying to sorry, I had a notification. We are trying to, they purposely do this, compare the two. So, with that being said, you're like, again, nothing can compare. Oh, I have this over here says otherwise. In no order, no particular order. Aliens 2. Aliens number 2. Aliens 2 is better than Aliens 1. They both are fantastic movies. This is better or as good as the original. That's what this list is. We have Child's Play. I think it is as good as the original. We take it in a modern setting where everything is hooked up to everything. Doing the voodoo thing, transferring a soul into a doll, is kind of a little bit of a stretch nowadays. But doing technology, corrupted technology, that's a big fear. We have people hacking everything nowadays. And Mark Hamill does the most coolest voice for Chucky. Just as good as the original. It's iconic to me. Then we have Scarface. I didn't know until I think it was like 10 years ago that it was even a remake, and it is. The original had the same premise: an immigrant coming to America and building an empire. So the original was a Italian who went to New York. This Scarface is fantastic. Al Pacino, man, oh my god! And they're going to do it again, except for we're going to the other side. We're going from Mexico to California, which makes sense because that's a hot topic right now: immigration and border patrol. So I think it's a really good idea, and if it's done right, it's one of those movies that's going to be really good. The next one, almost everybody agrees that Empire is better than New Hope. Again with another one, Godfather 2. Come on, man. We got Empire, Godfather 2, and Terminator 2 being on the top list of sequels, like the best sequels. That being said, we have Halloween, the new one that just came out that changed the whole timeline. Jamie Lee Curtis picks up her role flawlessly. She plays the post-traumatic stress syndrome down to a T. It's perfect, man. And it does a new timeline where we can bypass all the crap that came out. And lastly, Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd was much better than the Sylvester Stallone one. I'm talking leagues better. This is more comic booky. Doesn't take his helmet off, blows everybody to bits, doesn't speak a lot. So let me know what your thoughts on reboots, remakes, and sequels are in the comment section down below, or hit me up on my social media. That being said, much love. JD out.